Yeah, hello everyone. In the last class, we discussed about difference between JDK, JRE, and JVM. Now, in today's class, we'll just completely focus on JVM architecture. So, JVM is nothing but the Java Virtual Machine. We'll see how JVM architecture works. So, it is like an engine of a bike. It runs the Java code. What does it do? It will just convert the dot class file or nothing but a byte code. We can call this as a byte code into a machine code, machine understandable code, and it makes Java platform independent and and handles the memory management and security. Okay, this is the overview of the JVM. What does it do? It runs the Java bytecode and convert into the machine code, makes Java platform independent and manages the memory and security. So we'll see the architecture of the JVM. So whatever the code we converted using compiler, that is called as a bytecode. Okay, so JVM has a class loader. It is loaded. It loads the bytecode but dot class file. After loading it, uh, it will divide into these different memory areas like class area, heap area, stack area, PC, register, native method stack. Each and everything's allocated by the JVM. We'll see one by one. The first one is a class loader. What does it do? Class loader. Firstly, what you are converted into the bytecode by or the dot class file using compiler. Okay. Now the first class loader, what does it do? It loads the dot class file into the memory. Okay, it is loaded first and it is divided the class file into different parts. Like it has a bootstrap class loader. What does it do? It loads all the Java classes in the program. Extension dot class loader, because in single Java program we can have n number of classes. That is already discussed when we have discussed about the internal working. Yes or no? So bootstrap class loader loads all the classes present in the Java program. Next, extension dot class file, whatever the extensions dot class file we have, that will be loaded in this extension class loader, because when you have compiled the Java program, it will be converted to the bytecode, right? So if you see the folder where you have saved the Java file, there immediately it will be generated dot class file with the class name a dot class, b dot class. You can verify the folder in your system, okay, after compiling it. Next, applications of class loader. I will show now, one second, how the dot class file works. See, this is a Java. See, you can see all variables dot class, arithmetic dot example class. See, if I open this, one second. So, see, this code we cannot understand. This is a byte code. It is in a symbolic format, right? Are you able to see? This is the byte code, or we can call it a dot class file. So if you open this dot class file, dot Java, this is the actual code I have written. Okay. When you compile the code, it will be converted into this dot class file. You can see whether it is a class file or Java file. You can see in your system. So next, application class loader loads the classes from the class path. So from class path also it will load all the classes. One second, I'll maximize the screen. Next, method area. That is a class loader. How does it load the classes? Next, method area. So in the method area, it stores the class level data like class names, super class name, interfaces, fields, methods, attributes, all related class classes. It will store. This method area contains the names of the class, super class name, interface name, attributes, method names, each and every thing. It will be stored in the method area. Okay. Next, heap area, what does it stores? This memory area stores the objects of the class. So in Java program, we'll create n number of objects and instance variables will declare. Heap area contains the objects and instance variables. Okay. Also, it stores the shared memory spaces which is used by the threads. So now you will not understand about thread concept. When we are discussed about the thread concepts, we understand it. So whatever the memory space used by the threads, that is also stored in this heap area. Objects also stored in the heap area. Instance variables are also stored in the heap area, and it is managed by the garbage collector. Okay, because if any unused object present in our Java program, that will memory will be deallocated, right? So that's why heap area is managed by the automatic garbage collector. Okay, I hope you understand. Class loader loads all the classes. Method area loads stores the all class level like class names, object name, fields, attributes, each and everything. Heap area stores the objects and instance variables and the memory space which is used by the threads, and it is managed by the automatic garbage collector. Next, JVM stack, simply we can call it as stack memory is partial or temporary data, where it stores the local variables or partial results or method calls. Method call means when you call that method, that at that time only that method will be executed. Otherwise, later you cannot see that output, right? All method will be provides the output when that is called. That is called a temporary, right? Temporary data, local variables also until that method is available. After that, we cannot access it. So that is called as a local variable. When we discussed about the variables concept, then you'll understand about the local variable. Okay. When we discussed about the method concept, then you can understand about the method calling. Okay, partial results. So simply we can say JVM stack stores the temporary data or partial data. So it is not stored permanently. Such kind of results or the data will be stored in the JVM. Okay. Next, program counter register. What does it do? It stores the address of current instruction address. Like, so JVM executing 100 lines. So which instruction it is being executed? That instruction address is stored in this PC program counter register. It stores the instructions. So like suppose you are writing 100 lines. Each line is considered as an instruction. Which instruction it is executing? That address will be stored in PC register. Okay. Next, native method stack. Like in Java, we can write non-Java code. Like we can run non-Java code like either C or C++, any other programming language code. We can run using this Java native interface. Okay, that is one of the feature. We can run a non-Java code in using Java native interface, which provides by the JVM. That is a feature of the native method stack. So that memory will be, this memory contains the non-Java code which is written other languages, and it will be executed through Java native interface. Next, execution engine. What does it do? It reads the bytecode and executes. What does it contains? Execution engine, interpreter, just-in-time compiler, and garbage collector. So what does interpreter do? Compiler checks the whole program and convert into the bytecode, but interpreter executes the line by line, and it means interpreter executes that bytecode which is converted by the compiler, that will be executed by the line by line interpreter. That's why interpreter is slow compared with compiler, because compiler checks the whole program, but interpreter checks all line by line. Okay, so to make it good, better performance, we have a just-in-time compiler. It converts that bytecode into machine code and provides the faster performance. Okay, so what does the just-in-time compiler do? It compiles that bytecode into the machine code for better performance. Next, what this garbage collector do? It removes unused objects from the memory. Yes, we already discussed, any unused object we created in the Java program, that will be, that object memory will be deallocated when at the runtime. Yes or no? So that is managed. So after checking entire program, if any unused object is found, that memory will be deallocated through automatic garbage collector. So finally, execution engine contains the interpreter, just-in-time compiler, and garbage collector. Interpreter, what does do? It will execute that bytecode line by line. Just-in-time compiler compiles the entire bytecode and convert into the machine code for the best result. And garbage collector, what does it do? So any unused object is there in a program, that object memory will be reallocated at this runtime, okay, while executing it. Okay, so we already discussed about the native method stack when we are discussing about the native method interface. So it includes the method area. Uh, so runtime data areas like method area, heap area, PC registers, native method stacks. Okay, all this comes under runtime method areas. Interface acts as the bridge between the Java and the native method applications of the libraries. Okay, so with this we can run non-Java code. Yes or no? In native method interface we discussed, native method stack we had discussed about this. So through JNI we can run a non-Java code, either it may be C or C++. This interface enables or calling the non-methods native methods which is written in other languages like C or C++. So finally you understand about this architecture of JVM. Let's see, let's have a quick revision of this architecture. So simply JVM is nothing but engine of the bike. It's like an engine of a bike. How engine is important to the bike. In the same way, Java program, uh, for Java program, JVM plays a major role. Yes. So what does it do? It loads the dart class file, whatever you have converted using compiler. The dart class file will be loaded to the class loader. After loading it, it divided into the based on the type of dart class file. So it loads the dart class. Next, after loading it, in the class area, we store all the class names or the interfaces or any methods, fields, each and everything will store in the classes. In heap area, we store the objects and instance variables and the memory space which is used by the threads. Next, in stack, we store the temporary data. PC registers stores the uh, address of the instruction which is executed by the JVM. JVM is executing the instruction. Which instruction is executing? That instruction address is stored in the PC register. Native method interface. So it provides an environment to run another, apart from the Java program. If you include any non-Java code like either C or C++, that to run that Java program, sorry, to run that non-Java code, it provides an interface. And execution contains just-in-time compiler, interpreter, and automatic garbage collector. Interpreter executes the line by line. Just-in-time compiler compiles the entire byte code and convert it to the machine code for the better result. And automatic garbage collector deletes memory for the non-user objects. This is about the complete architecture of the JVM. It loads the class file and all the classes interfaces is stored in the class area. Objects is stored in heap area. Temporary data is stored in the stack area. PC register contains the execution address which is executed by the JVM. Address of the current execution instruction. Native method interface contains the non-Java code. Execution contains the JIT compiler, interpreter, and automatic garbage collector. JIT compiler compiles the entire byte code into the machine code. Interpreter executes line by line, and automatic garbage collector deletes the memory for the non-user objects. This is the complete architecture of the JVM. I hope you understand how JVM plays a major role. How does it works? How we are able to run Java program on any operating system. Okay, so this is the complete architecture of the JVM. I hope you understand this today's topic. We'll see the next topic in the next class. If you have any doubt, please let me know and give me some feedback what I have to improve and what your expectations, what you are expecting from me, so that I can plan according to that. And please do subscribe to my channel, because if you have watched this video till the end means you have satisfied. I hope you have satisfied with my content. And please do subscribe to my channel, because I'm getting watch time from the not subscribed students only. Okay, thank you.